Whenever Green Day would be on, I was frightened by the drummer.
With Tré, there was no stopping them.
And we started jamming with Tré. I had to step up my game. Like, this kid can drum.
All of a sudden, like a few words in, Tré Cool jumps off the stage.
What I started hearing was that we were actually a lot tighter.
The drummers forget that they're playing a song sometimes.
I'm watching you. Hey.
When it comes to rock drumming, few names stand out like Tré Cool. As the longtime drummer for Green Day since 1990, Tré has been the heartbeat behind some of the biggest rock songs of all time. He doesn't just play the drums, he attacks them with power and precision that drives the music forward and matches Green Day's rebellious spirit. The combination of raw energy and technical ability allows him to deliver powerful rhythms with ease. His antics both on and off the stage are legendary, and as a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and 5-time Grammy Award winner, he's cemented his place as one of the most successful and influential rock drummers in history. Join us as we dive into the genius of Tré Cool.
So go do what you like.
We didn't have electricity or TV or cartoons, but Tré actually liked it. He could, run around and make as much noise as he wanted.
Frank Edwin Wright III, now known as Tré Cool, was born in Frankfurt, Germany, but spent his early years growing up in Northern California. And although he lived in a remote area, his closest neighbor was none other than Larry Livermore, who was looking for a new drummer for his band, The Lookouts.
The closest thing I could find to a drummer was this crazy kid that lived about a mile down the road. Somehow I got it into my head, well, he might be a good drummer. His nickname was Tré anyway, because he was the third in his family with the same name, and I just said, well, you need a punk rock name now, so you're going to be Tré Cool.
Early hints of Tré's explosive drumming can be heard on the 1987 track The Mushroom is Exploding, which features a 12-year-old Tré on drums and lead vocals. Over the next few years, Tré developed his own drumming style and improved pretty quickly. Take a listen to how much tighter his drumming is on the track Sunny Boy, which was released only 2 years later. During this time, Tré and the band started gigging more around the Bay Area, and they became regulars at 924 Gilman Street, which was a legendary venue that played a huge role in the emerging pop-punk scene.
It was a place to come together without fear of getting beat up or ripped off. People needed a forum where they could come and feel like they could express themselves in a safe environment.
By the late 80s, Billy Joe Armstrong and Mike Dirnt started working with drummer John Kiffmeyer, who was an integral part of the band early on.
If it wasn't for John Kiffmeyer, I don't know if we'd be a band today. I mean, he was our first drummer, and he was older than us, and he was in a band called Isocracy, who was kind of like the house band at Gilman.
When John first told me about Billy and Mike, he said, man, I found these kids. They're like the punk rock Beatles, man. They're so cool. They got harmonies, and they can just play the hell out of their instruments. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to hear that. And then he was right.
John's drum set was still set up, and Tré went over and started playing it. And he was one of the best drummers I ever heard.
John decided that he wanted to pursue his education and go to college. At the same time, I moved into the area where Billy and Mike were living, and I really liked playing with them, like, immediately.
In many ways, Tré was the missing piece, taking the band to an entirely new level.
That's where we started to really expand our musicianship. He was the turning point.
With Tré, the Voltron was complete. There was no stopping them.
Tré had to change his drumming style a bit when he officially joined Green Day. Before joining, his style was a little bit busier, and he explained that, when I started, I had too many drums. I was a little reggae happy and into fancier beats than was needed. It took me a while to get it. Play the song, don't play the instrument. I started figuring out how to make the band a stronger unit, to make it jump. Tré's new approach can be heard on his first contribution to the band on their 1991 album Kerplunk. Take a listen to this bouncy chorus off the track 2,000 Light Years Away. In One for the Razorbacks off the same record, Tré further showcases his focus on playing and supporting the song. Listen to how he locks in with Mike Dirnt's bass line with an up-tempo ride groove, and he caps it off with a phrase with a simple but effective tom groove. Tre's emphasis on serving the music is also heard on Christy Road, where he enhances the song in a subtle but effective way. In the verse, he throws in 16th notes on the kick drum and gradually opens his hi-hats to match the energy of the track.
Watching the clock tick so slowly. Gotta get away. Yeah, my brains will explode.
Now, one thing you'll notice even with his early playing is how Tré always serves the music and lays down a solid rhythmic foundation for the rest of the band. And with that in mind, it might not come as a huge surprise who tops his list of favorite drummers.
Who is the greatest drummer that ever lived?
I mean, I'm gonna piss off a lot of people when I say Ringo Starr. He played what's supposed to be played in the song. You know,
extremely musical.
Drummers forget that they're playing a song sometimes. You know.
And after the success of Kerplunk, some major labels started to take notice of Green Day.
It became a kind of a firestorm of sort of like label wars.
These guys started kind of coming around, and then we made the dude from Geffen Records take us to Disneyland. Now, we knew we weren't signing to Geffen, but we wanted to go to Disneyland, you know?
Call me pathetic, call me.
Green Day would go on to sign with Reprise Records and release their first major label debut album, Dookie, in 1994. Tapping into the teenage angst of an entire generation, this album would go on to sell over 20 million copies, going mainstream with a slightly more melodic punk rock sound.
Dookie stands today as a pop-punk marvel, a model of addictive excellence for future teenagers to cherish.
I wasn't like a hip kid. I didn't listen to Green Day's first record. I heard Dookie when it exploded. I was 14, 15 years old, something like that. And I loved the drumming. I took a lot from that. And my band, we're in the studio constantly at that time. It's like go to school, go to the studio. So we're in like serious studios, and I'm hearing, it's like a direct line when you're that young sponge. And I would hear some of Tré's influence in that stuff, but it kind of meshed with the influence of the Minutemen. I'm certainly not a punk drummer, but I got nothing but love for Tré.
I remember when Dookie came out, Tré Cool he was an absolute, still is an absolute monster. Definitely influenced my playing coming up, and Green Day, I absolutely love that band.
It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just
In the short bridge section, Tré builds momentum by opening his hi-hats and playing big, powerful flams on the snare drum.
grasping to control, so I better hold on.
Another standout moment of Tré's can be heard in the song Longview. He holds down a tom groove in the verse to support the slightly somber vibe.
I sure as hell can do it by myself.
Tré cleverly returns to the tom groove in the chorus, this time adding a few more notes and shots on the crash cymbals to accent the guitar riff.
I got no motivation. Where is my motivation? I got no motivation. Where is my motivation? No time for the motivation. Smoking my inspiration.
When asked about his approach to writing parts, Tré said, "I try not to overdo it and play to the song, and then choose my moments wisely. I try not to step on anyone's toes or anything. Once the song gets more structured, I say, I'm gonna go off a little bit here, or this would be a good place for a drum intro. I start stacking more parts on top once it's structured. I tend to have the same quiver of licks. I like to think I'm a recognizable drummer. I have my own sound." One moment where we can hear Tré going off is in the outro of Chump. Tré's instinct for adding fills, especially in fast-paced sections like the chorus of Welcome to Paradise, gives the song a distinct musical flair.
I'm never gonna go. Turn attention to the cracks, return the broken bones. Some call it some call it night. I wanna take you through a wasteland I like to call my own. Welcome to
Welcome to Paradise's bridge is really cool. It says like this tom groove on top while he's also doing a really cool ride pattern. and it's just so rad. That was always something that stood out to me.
Now, Welcome to Paradise was actually released on Kerplunk and then famously re-recorded for Dookie. And when you listen to the two versions back to back, the band's transition from raw punk to a more polished sound becomes pretty clear.
Welcome to paradise. Welcome to paradise.
Another moment that features some iconic drum fills comes in the bridge section of Burnout, which also features a drum break. Here, Tré expertly fills in the space with a dense sequence of high-intensity drum fills. But generally speaking, Tré's drumming serves as a rock-solid rhythmic foundation for the band. The syncopated groove from When I Come Around is a great example of this.
Well, I heard you crying loud all the way across town.
Ultimately, Dookie ended up being a massive commercial success, and other bands in the scene greatly benefited from it.
With Green Day running point, the cult of punk went platinum in 1994. Gilman Street alums Rancid and New Schoolers The Offspring suddenly sold millions. Hardcore veterans like Bad Religion racked up previously unthinkable sales.
Dookie was an absolute explosion of popularity for everything associated with punk rock. My own group had a gold record that year. We'd never gotten close to gold. It carried everything with it.
Following Dookie, the band released Insomniac in 1995. It featured a heavier hardcore punk sound with darker themes. Check out the verse section from Jaded that features a relentless drum part. You can also hear Tré's heavy-handed approach on the driving groove from Geek Stink Breath. The extended intro section from Panic Song is especially memorable, featuring a powerful tom groove with cymbal shots accenting the guitar riff. Tré then plays steady quarter notes on the kick drum before transitioning into a driving backbeat groove. Now, by this point, Green Day had established themselves as one of the biggest bands in the world, popularizing punk rock in the mainstream. Tré Cool's iconic grooves laid the foundation for many hits during this period, but as the band matured, their sound slowly started changing.
Give it up for Tré Cool!
Released in 1997, Nimrod saw a bit of a departure from Green Day's strictly punk sound. It was pretty experimental with elements of folk, hardcore, surf, and ska. Tré adapted the way he played to fit the music. He still retained his hard-hitting style, but he dialed back his parts, adding nuance to support the more melody-driven riffs and vocals. This approach can be heard on the song Redundant. You really start to hear a different side of Green Day on this record. On the song Last Ride In, a 4-minute surf rock instrumental, Tré lays down some overdub percussive tracks. Tré's versatile drumming also shines through on King for a Day, which is a ska track that features a slick accented snare roll. And a similar approach can be heard on the track Hitchin' a Ride. While many different styles are showcased on Nimrod, the band's punk rock roots are still very much present, and you can hear Tré's signature drumming on tracks like Hashinka, where he plays a powerful tom groove. as well as Platypus I Hate You, which is played at a breakneck speed of 173 beats per minute. Tré's musical drumming is present as ever on the record Warning, released in 2000. He shifts gears to accommodate folk and pop styles as well as acoustic elements. You can hear a more restrained groove on the self-titled track. And on Minority, the Irish folk influence really stands out, with Tré holding down a simple beat that matches the feel of the song.
The only way I know, one light, one mind, flashing in the dark, blinded by the silence of 1,000 broken hearts. For crying out loud, she screamed under me, afraid for all. You are your side.
Warning saw the band starting to explore political themes by touching on social issues at the time. And the band's follow-up album would lean into this new direction in an even bigger way.
In today's society right now, with reality TV and all the media being swayed one direction or the other, and all the information being thrown at you, and then throw this war on top of it, we've had enough. And we're ready to say, you know what? I feel confused and disenfranchised, and as individuals, we feel like we're losing our individuality.
American Idiot debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts. With nearly 250 million views on YouTube and close to 1 billion streams on Spotify, the first self-titled single fueled the album's success early on. It's one of the most popular rock songs of all time. First, we hear Tré playing alternating bars of 4 on the floor and backbeat grooves in the verse.
Don't wanna be an American idiot. Don't want a nation under the new me.
And later on, we hear some driving 8th-note grooves in the chorus.
Welcome to a new kind of tension all across the alien mission, where everything is meant to be okay. Don't think that dreams of tomorrow, we're not the ones that meant to follow. Hopefully that's enough to like you.
And then later on is one of the coolest grooves in the song, and this is the tom groove towards the end.
Don't wanna be an American idiot. One nation controlled by the media. Information age of hysteria. It's going out to idiot America.
Green Day's kind of what got me into music. So when I was 10-ish, my mom actually had like a Grammy nominees CD, and American Idiot was one of the songs on the Grammy nominees CD. That was the one out of the whole CD that I kept playing on repeat. Tré's always been just one of my favorite drummers, as far as like they will always have that special place in my heart, as the band that got me into music. So
there's an anthemic quality to many of the tracks on this album, and Tré's dynamic drum parts support the band, elevating the music. The intro to Are We the Waiting is a great example, showing just how effective a simple groove can be. The main groove from Wake Me Up When September Ends is similar, alternating between a tom groove with big flams and a powerful crash cymbal groove.
As my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September ends. My memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Wake me up when September ends.
Another example of Tré's musical approach is heard on the chorus of Give Me Novocaine. Here he plays a groove with a deep pocket, filling out space with double strokes on the kick drum.
Drain the pressure from the swelling. The sensation's overwhelming. Drain the pressure from the swelling. The sensation's overwhelming. Get me all a kiss goodnight and everything
One thing Tré doesn't get enough credit for is his versatility. In Homecoming, a 9-minute-long song, he showcases a variety of musical drum parts and techniques. From furious drum fills and cymbal shots in the intro, through to a call and response tom build that launches into a skank beat. And then later on, we even hear a snare break in the bridge that wouldn't be out of place in a marching band. Jesus of Suburbia is another epic, with Tré's tasteful drumming navigating unique sections and style. This short drum break features some legendary drum fills that have become a staple in the pop-punk world. But one of the coolest drum parts comes towards the end, where Tré lays down a high-octane groove to match the surging riffs and vocals. American Idiot would go on to sell over 23 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling albums of all time. Tré Cool's drumming was a vital part of the modern punk rock opera, which even went on to be adapted into a Broadway musical. And early on, he was convinced the record would be a success, saying, "There was just such energy to it. I felt like Frank Sinatra was in the room with us. It was just really special. And I knew it was going to be special instantly. I think we all knew that we were really onto something." The difference between Dookie and American Idiot is pretty simple. The first time the success was an accident. The second time it was on purpose. 5 years later, the album 21st Century Breakdown was released, with Tré's brand of drumming lending itself to the arena rock style. His playing on the hit single 21 Guns is minimalistic yet very impactful.
21 guns, lay down your arms, give up the fight.
And while most Green Day songs are played in 4/4, Tré pulls off a slick 7/8 groove in Before the Lobotomy.
Well, it's enough to make you sick to cast a stone and throw a brick. It's enough to make you sick to cast a stone and throw a brick. When the sky is falling down, you burn your dreams into the ground.
Tré's drum fills always have intent, and the snare fills in Viva La Gloria are perfectly placed, driving the music forward.
Gloria, viva la gloria. You bless your name in graffiti on the walls.
These shotgun-sounding 16th note fills are a staple in Tré's arsenal, and you can hear them throughout Green Day's entire discography. But Tré doesn't need to play a lot of notes to make an impact. Listen to the verse section from this next track, where he strips down the beat as the guitars cut out.
I'll chop me a line of my best friend's ashes. What the fuck does OK stand for? When the afterlife is nothing worth dying for.
Green Day released their 14th studio album in early 2024 called Saviors. It features some trademark moments from the entire band, and Tré's drumming hasn't slowed down one bit. Take a listen to the driving groove from Dilemma.
Tré's musical instincts also stand out in the bridge section of One-Eyed Bastard, where he complements the sparse guitar riff with hi-hat barks and cymbal shots. Tré's supporting role in the band isn't just limited to drums. You can hear him singing backup and lead vocals on a few tracks. Without Tré Cool, Green Day's legendary songs wouldn't be as instantly recognizable as they are today. His drum parts support, complement, and drive the music forward in interesting and purposeful ways. But it's not just his drumming that stands out, his personality is also one of a kind.
Whenever Green Day would be on, I was frightened by the drummer. Whenever they would finish, he would charge the desk.
Tré Cool isn't just known for his drumming, his energy and wild antics make him a standout personality in the music scene. There are so many legendary Tré Cool moments to pick from, but this stunt from the 1998 MTV Music Awards will go down as one of the best.
Kurt Loder's interviewing Green Day.
Tré kept noticing the universal globe over his shoulder.
And you know something's up.
All of a sudden, like a few words in, Tré Cool jumps off the stage.
John, what's with you?
He decided to scale the globe at the Universal Amphitheater.
Tré got to the top of the globe, it's rotating and he's waving and smiling and fans are going nuts.
That's one of those moments when the people who have to worry about money and things like insurance are probably having heart attacks.
And there's a slightly chaotic energy to Tré and his bandmates. They're always ready for wild and unexpected moments, like that time they started an impromptu performance on live TV.
You can't just do that. You can't do that.
Or when Tré lit his kid on fire at the 1998 Warped Tour.
It takes a rare breed of musicians to become cultural icons, no less coming from punk roots like Tré. But he and the band strike the balance perfectly, even appearing in the Simpsons movie. It's fair to say that Tré Cool is one of a kind, and his energy makes him a fan favorite. His prankster personality shines through in his performances, and his unique brand of punk rock and roll antics are part of his enduring legacy. All right, there you have it, the genius of Tré Cool. He's one of the drummers you can recognize instantly behind the kit, and there's so much we can learn from Tré just from what he's recorded up until this point. Now, down in the comments, let me know one thing that you've learned from listening to Tré Cool. Also, stay tuned for the next episode in the Genius Of series, which is on Viola Smith, one of the most important drummers from the swing era. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.